detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us. I'm probably going to take a bit of heat about this, Jared. I think I'll get this straight out of the way. We finally went back to the cinema. For me, I haven't been in the cinema in 6 months.
Too long.
Unfortunately. and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we went and saw Flight Risk. So that's today's movie on the schedule. Jared's got a lot of things to say. It's pretty fair to say.
So do you, I'd imagine.
Pretty fair to say there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, I think, on this one. But before we get to it, let's run through what we've been watching. Jared, hit me with it.
Okay, well, I dipped back into some TV, got into some finishing up seasons of House of the Dragon, and dipped back into some Yellow Jackets and things like that. On the movie front, I watched an Indian action movie called Kill.
Okay.
Which was, it's kind of like these bandits get onto a train to do some robbing and having to jump on the same train as two army kind of special forces characters.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good. One of the better action movies I've seen in quite some time. It's got a very frenetic kind of the raid style. Everything's obviously in really close quarters on these trains. But yeah, I liked it a lot, and a couple of sort of wrinkles into the standard formula.
Where would I find this?
Binge.
Yeah,
it's on Binge.
Beauty.
Yep, get straight on.
Get on to that.
I would recommend it highly. I watched The Equalizer 3.
What do you think of that? Do you think we've kind of plateauing here?
Well, Denzel's still got the same sort of impact. The story is run of the mill.
Yeah, he looks a bit older, Denzel.
He does look a bit older, but he can still play that because it's not martial arts and things like that. He can still play the hard bastard, and he can still menace you with saying, you know, the guy next to me, the guy over there is dead. He just doesn't know it yet, and things like that.
Yeah.
He can still play that comfortably.
Oh yeah.
I think they probably would have been wiser to play up the angle of, I'm doing this because you fucking came and ruined my happiness. Basically, I was at peace.
Yes,
they should have played with that a bit more, but yeah, it was fine. It was passable.
Yeah, easily probably the worst of the three, I think.
I don't think so. I think that I enjoyed this one more than two.
You'd like?
I thought two was average.
Okay,
I would probably go 1, 3, 2.
Okay,
that's my order.
They're all pretty.
They're all pretty close.
But they're all pretty flat line.
Yeah,
the three of them.
They're all pretty close to each other.
And Denzel gives it gravitas that a lesser actor
makes
would
them
not
all
have been
better than they should
able
be.
to do. Yeah.
I watched Pale Rider after we watched Missionary Man with Dolph. Pale Rider's better. No surprise there. No surprise there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised there.
It's funny because the things we mentioned, like the villains, they don't get mixed up in this one. Like it's the same idea that this other group is brought in.
Yeah.
But it doesn't kind of just completely remove the other one that brought them in.
Yeah.
And I think it just plays a little cleaner as a Western. Like the roles are more defined. A couple of things that were a little bit, I mean, like the girl in this one, you know how we were talking about, is the girl interested in Dolph? Because if so, that's a bit ordinary. And I thought, no, it's more like the father figure.
Mm.
Well, in this one, it's pretty clear that no, the girl's interested in Clint in that way.
Oh.
And I'm sort of like, she's playing 15 in the movie. Clint was 50 odd.
Hang on.
This is
I hope to Christ nothing comes of it.
No, nothing comes
Thank
of it.
God.
And Clint's character is the one to kind of talk it down and say, hey, you don't actually know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I could have done without that.
yeah. Me too.
But all in all, it's a little better.
I haven't seen it, but
it's a little
me
better.
too.
Yeah, I liked it better.
Yeah.
Especially like, you know, the guy playing off Clint for most of the movie is Michael Moriarty.
Yeah.
And he's great.
Yeah.
And then you've got people like Chris Penn and Richard Keel. And
yeah.
So I really liked it. I liked it a lot, actually.
Okay.
I would recommend you check it out.
I will.
Speaking of Dolph.
Oh, God.
I couldn't help myself. I watched Silent Trigger, which was the one with Russell Mulcahy.
Which is the one we dabbled around when we were thinking of his Man of the 2000 stuff, but it was in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yes, it was in the 90s. Look, it was pretty average.
Russell's now now struggling with smaller budgets with his explosiveness, and it's not as impressive, is it?
Yeah, and it was, I don't know, it's just, it had moments, but I just feel like even in his action ones, Dolph tends to get mixed up in things that don't do the action very well.
Yeah.
And that was also apparent in the other Dolph one I watched, which was
Minion?
The Minion.
The Minion.
Yes, I went to that one.
End of Days.
Because it was like, Dolph's run at End of Days. Again, it was more ground, even though it was, Dolph's one of the Knights Templar and this sort of business. It was more action oriented.
Yeah.
But the action's just not very good.
Yeah.
So
small budgets, mate.
Poor old Dolph, he just the last 3 weeks I should have not watched them. My opinion of him has dropped significantly.
I mean, you know what?
Well, it's not his fault.
He has for the last couple of weeks, he has basically bent over and been kicked in the ass like 20 times.
Yeah, for me, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just
he's just been booted up the ass.
Yeah. It certainly had
It's his own doing though.
Yeah, fair to say it probably was his own doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the same sort of. There's not really any surprise, but he just. I mean, I mentioned to you briefly when we were talking before. I look at someone like Scott Adkins. So Adkins has stretched occasionally and done some things that are a little bit out of the what you would expect. But he also knows that his strength is, well, let's put a lot of work into the choreography of
the stunt work,
and the martial arts and all that sort of thing. And so even when you come out of it thinking, oh, it wasn't the greatest movie, you come out thinking, but geez, Adkins was good in the fucking fight scenes and stuff like that. I'm just lacking that. Maybe
Adkins delivers at his bread and butter. Like
Correct.
He always puts some of his bread and butter in there.
Yeah, so perhaps I need to look a little closer at some other Dolph ones that actually managed to put him in those situations, but I think they're few and far between.
I think you're right.
So after that, I watched Candyland, which is the one about the sort of truck stop prostitutes, and it turns into a bit of a slashery kind of thing. Not bad. Some good acting performances, something a little bit different. It kind of goes down. I mean, you see what's happening and you get an interesting sort of sense of where it's going to go. The very end isn't too bad.
Where do I find this?
I don't know. I found it on Tubi, I think.
So yeah, do I have to fly overseas?
Well, maybe not. It's
got
got
to be that.
It's got to be here somewhere.
I'm with you.
It's got to be here somewhere. It's only
with
from
you
like
on that one.
2022.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
I flew business, Adam.
Yeah. No, you didn't. you fucking flew like freight.
I walked through a tunnel of some sort. I flew freight.
Yeah,
I was in a fucking freight.
Yes.
I watched Alice, Sweet Alice.
Oh, that's an interesting little choice.
Up and down. Some ways in which it is shot give it a really sort of creepy vibe. It's got some sort of stuff about religion that's obviously pretty clear in there.
Yeah.
But then it's also got a couple of characters that are just like, oh, what's going on here? Especially there's like an auntie who's constantly yelling and stuff.
Okay.
So it's a little strange in some ways, but not bad.
Okay.
And the last one I watched, actually no, I had two more. I rewatched Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Okay. It's always a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's a bit silly. And I think they know it's silly, and it's a bit of a laugh in certain places. And the last one I watched was Dark Match, which is the wrestling one's just
dropped on Shudder. Yes.
Yeah. Not bad. Really cool sort of setup. I mean, the one sort of sentence descriptions of it just got me straight in. Throw a bit of wrestling in there, mix it with a bit of a slasher. I like, someone like Chris Jericho, I think is a good addition to that sort of movie. I think the budget holds it back a little bit.
So is it pretty cheap?
It's definitely pretty cheap. Like there's points where you see the crowd, and even though it's supposed to be a small crowd, you can tell they're shooting it from a place so you can't see that there's no one in the other parts of it and things like this. Not bad. I had some fun with it, but it probably fell a little short of where I was hoping it would get to, and I think budget probably played a bit of a part of that. But again, there's not a lot of surprise in there.
Okay,
but yeah, not bad. I didn't mind it.
Understood. All right, an interesting mix, eclectic. I got in a little bit of horror, a little bit of action, but there was a bit of drama in there, which is an interesting sort of thing. There was also a episode of Out There, episode 4, about the lizard people.
Good.
Which I agree with you, Jared. It should be really silly.
Yeah.
But the way they do it, juxtaposing one town turning it into a bit of a mascot, and that fucking guy, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That stuff was crazy. And the part that was even more crazy, in my opinion, was that woman told them a year before that he was doing that. They did fuck all about it.
Mm-hmm.
He then blows the fucking place up, and the media rips her apart.
Yeah.
Like she's somehow involved. I'm like, she told what? I was speaking to the screen, going, but are we gonna fucking point out that you cunts didn't listen?
Yeah, yeah.
Are we gonna point that out?
Exactly what was going on.
Like, fuck me.
But we door knocked. We door knocked and he didn't answer. So
yeah, look, he didn't answer.
Yeah, don't worry about
don't worry about it.
In on him.
There's a possible bomb, a potential terrorism plot, right? Because that's what that is. Even if it's alleged, it's a potential terrorism situation.
Someone's
the FBI should be down there knocking on his door, going, like, okay, buddy, you're going to open that fucking thing up.
Especially when she says, yeah, there's a caravan, blah, 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 and they rock up and confirm, yeah, there's a caravan and things like that. Like,
unbelievable.
Yeah, there was a few errors made.
Couldn't believe it. But it was actually pretty well done.
Yeah.
I thought. I finally watched No Country for Old Men.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of didn't twist too far. Like, it was pretty simple. I just liked the way it was sort of laid out. There's no musical score at all, which I thought was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
And Javier Bardem is fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's excellent. Yeah.
His performance is just, it's super, super creepy. Like, there's something really menacing about the bloke, but he barely raises his voice in the whole fucking time. It's really, I thought it was quite good. I watched Boy Kills World.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. It gets pretty repetitious near the end.
Yeah.
It's just fucking punch up after punch up after punch up with not much being added apart from when you finally get to the kind of what goes on. I'd already thought that fucking 20 minutes in.
Yeah. Yep.
I like Bill Skarsgård. I like Jessica Roth. And I loved the idea of the fucking voiceover from Street Fighter.
Voiceover was excellent.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. And it was kind of humorous in points.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the drama and stuff came in. I watched The Intern, which is a De Niro movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen it before. The first hour I was really enjoying. The whole idea of, like, he comes back as an intern, he's like 70, and he gets placed with the boss of the company. And she initially says, look, I've got no need for you. Like, just fucking busy yourself out there. But slowly but surely, you know, his experience and everything kind of, he ingratiates himself with her.
Yeah.
But the second half just starts fucking having all this crap about, her husband's having an affair and all this. And I'm like, keep it in the fucking workplace. Like, none of this shit is important. And so it goes a bit off the track.
Yeah.
Speaking of De Niro, I watched another one called The Comeback Trail, which the idea was kind of sounded pretty funny. And a movie producer who's desperate to fucking cash in on a life insurance policy decides to hire Tommy Lee Jones and fucking have him killed while he's doing the stunt work.
Yeah.
But he refuses to fucking die.
Yeah, not a bad idea, is it?
It's a bad idea. But it's real kind of flat. Real flat. And then Zach Braff's in there fucking just not making it happen for me. I then went back to the Coen brothers with Burn After Reading. Not too bad. A little more comedic than their usual sort of stuff. Obviously, that humorous moment with George Clooney constantly squirreling away like metals and stuff and down in the basement doing like fucking soldering and shit that turns out to be some sort of fucking dildo chair that he's built.
Yeah, that's right up your alley, isn't it?
And then his response of, I had to buy the dildo. I'm not confident with plastics. Like, fucking brilliant. Like, it was okay. It was okay. It was also nice to see John Malkovich fucking going off, constantly going off the whole time. Now, this is an interesting one, Jared. The Florida Project. You ever seen that?
I have not.
It's kind of a coming of age story. It's about the little kids. They're all living in this kind of hotel and over the summer in Florida. and they're having a sort of, that time of sort of like we used to do when we were kids. You'd be fucking riding bikes. You'd be off doing all sorts of shit.
Yep.
And in the background, all the parents and all the adults are having problems. It was just a little bit slow. Not much happens. And Willem Dafoe is fucking awesome. He's the guy who runs the hotel. He's fantastic. And rightfully so, got nominated for an Oscar, I think, for it.
Yeah.
But without him, I think it would have been real tight. Like, I would have struggled. Like, every time he pops up, I'm kind of in. And then he slips away, and then it kind of goes stale again. So it was interesting to watch. I watched The Descendants, which was a George Clooney, Alexander Payne directed film. Loved it. Really loved it. Light drama. Clooney gives a fucking great performance. He's not just a handsome cat, Jared.
And can act a little bit.
Yeah, can act. And it's just nicely done. I went to another Alexander Payne film as well called About Schmidt with Jack Nicholson.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit slower. The wife wasn't real happy. She had to sit through it too. Nicholson is really good. And there are moments where it kind of shows a nice emotional touch, but it's just very slow.
You better speed this up, Adam. I think you've just lost half the audience.
Yeah,
talking about some of this shit. Let's get it going.
Here's one that I went for, and I was thinking bottom of the barrel.
Yep.
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, right.
I thought this is going to be poor.
Yeah, the trailers looked all right.
It was all right.
Yeah.
Yep. It was pretty well done. For some reason, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes, which it fucking shouldn't be.
Come on, people.
But
have you not got the memo? Keep it brief.
I'll give you 100 minutes. Okay,
Yes.
That's what it should be. You should be allocated a running time. It does a pretty decent job of setting up the kind of true story element. There's not a lot of great character work. David Harbour is excellent as the guy they get in to run the team.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind Orlando Bloom. It's the race work where they do a really good job of mixing high octane kind of stuff with what the game might look like.
Yeah.
And even things like the cars are whipping around the track and you can just see the number above his car, which shows where he is, just like the game does. It was okay. I would say check it out, Jared. I'd be interested to see hear your thoughts. I then watched The Stuff. Not bad.
Jam.
Larry Cohen.
Yeah.
Always kind of spices it up.
Yeah.
With a little bit of consumerism kind of shit in there as well as being like a silly horror movie. Although I have to admit, it opens cold and there's just some dude out in the snow eating fucking shit that's in the ground. And I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
And the last one is, my brother contacted us and said that there's something like there's a found footage kind of movie on YouTube called Milk and Cereal, and the cereal spelled SERIAL, and
art, Adam.
It was not bad, not bad. It had some moments that are probably where you're kind of like maybe and it tops out at about an hour.
Yeah,
but
it's not
I
long.
think it kind of hits the mark and isn't bad for a found footage film. Probably made on a fairly slim budget, but pretty well done, I would have said. And that was it. All right, Jared, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2025's Flight Risk.
Deputy Harris? Daryl Booth. Been in for the fugitive before.
Government witness, not a fugitive.
You're not really buying that, are you?
Oh.
I'm gonna tear you apart. Don't shoot him, we need him!
Tell me how to fly this thing, or we will die out here.
Clearly, you're mistaking me for somebody who actually gives a...
Flight Risk, only in theaters January 24th.
Flight Risk from 2025, directed by Mel Gibson, who gave us Braveheart and Hacksaw Ridge. It's written by first-timer Jared Rosenberg. I believe this was on the blacklist for like 4 years.
I'm shocked.
I am shocked too. And as we get into it, I think we could point out that it's not what I would call blacklist material,
No,
so to
no.
speak. It's produced by John Davis, John Fox, and Mel Gibson. It stars Mark Wahlberg as Daryl, Michelle Dockery as Madeline, and Topher Grace as Winston. The budget, I think, was about 26 million, and currently it has a worldwide gross of 16 million. Its opening weekend was last week, and it opened to 11.5 million, topped the box office in the US.
Mm.
All right, Jared, what did you think of this?
I was not a big fan.
No.
Look, I probably came in with some preconceived ideas about some of the players involved and whatnot, but I just thought it was just not good. Like, it was predictable in parts. It was a bit sluggish in parts where you'd probably want a little bit of pepper on the story, or you know, it's. I just felt like there was just not a lot. It's another one of these ones where we're spending pretty much the entire runtime in this plane with 3 people. So it's got to be super tight. And it just wasn't. And it feels like it was partly the script. Like, so I'm starting to think to myself, do I not know what the blacklist is? Because my understanding was it was the best a collection of the best unproduced screenplays.
Yes.
Is there an element of this would be really cheap for you to make in there too? Because I can't imagine that the writing that was on display here is some of the best that hasn't been made yet.
No, I would agree there.
I felt like just between the characters that were going, some of the characters that were, or the development of what you needed within the plane just wasn't there. And then you've got characters who, you know, pointing at someone like Michelle Dockery's character, and it's not her fault, but for 20 minutes, it's like she's adult. She's just stupid.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she becomes perceptive.
But the problem with her too is she drops in and out of perceptive and stupid for the rest of the movie.
Yes. And it's not just centered on her. I thought Mark Wahlberg's character was just rubbish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, as much as I would like to, I can't blame Mel. Like, it's not necessarily all on the direction, but then the parts where you need the direction to get a bit of tension out of what's happening to the plane, they're as dull as dog shit too.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to find much to like about it, I thought. So I went for a 1.5. I was filthy when we came out.
Yeah. I went for a 1.
Okay.
Because for me, this has enough juice to be a tight little thriller. If you were just going to just cut away the fat and do 80 minutes in the plane and do it like well, like
Yes.
build the suspense, but also drag out a little bit of who the fuck is on the take, on, you know, who's the one that we've got to worry about.
Yeah.
Right? This does none of that. And it's basically, it's a hot, like, it's like everything that they had went bad. So direction is not up to scratch. Script is not up to scratch. Acting is all over the shop. All 3 of the characters produce differing levels of bad because their characters are given fuck all to do. Like, the script just doesn't give them anything to work with. And it's slow.
Yeah.
Like, it's 90 minutes,
It was a
Jared.
long 90-minute
And at
movie.
one point, I turned to you, and we were 40 in. And I said, fuck, this feels long.
Yeah. What about when the guy that was helping him down said, we'll get you down in 15 to 18 minutes? I just about fucking exploded on the spot. I was like, I haven't got
Can you make
15
it like
to
6?
18 in me.
6.
It's 5 to 8 max. Like, I don't have it. I don't have 15 to 18.
15 to 18, my ass.
Yeah, I was just begging for, you know, I hope that's not real time. It better be fucking movie time. Like, shorten that shit out.
All right. Well, you took the notes, Jared. You took the notes.
I took some notes.
So,
but I'm sure you've got a
I
few
can always
bits and
come in,
pieces
but
that you remember.
let's slowly unravel the likes if we
Okay.
had many.
So, as you said, this setup is something that could have worked, no doubt.
Agreed.
I think, the uneasy alliance between someone that we paint as good and bad based on, what role they're in. So I brought up something like Assault on Precinct 13. They have to kind of come together against a common enemy, and there's this uneasy tension between, is this person going to do the right thing, or what are they going to do? That setup is fine. Unfortunately, they didn't get that part of any sort of juice out of who's going to do what.
No.
That's the bad part of it. And we've spoken about movies like Phone Booth and Buried and that, like, at length. It's got to be like that, right?
Yeah.
So if someone said to me, that's the setup, they're in the air, this is how it's going to work, I can see why that, the elevator pitch will be on my blacklist. Like
Is the blacklist talking about like being in the toilet?
No. Yeah, it feels like that.
It feels a little bit like that. No,
Yeah, my understanding is they whip out 10 scripts a year on this blacklist.
That everybody's interested in?
Well, that for whatever reason people aren't seemingly interested in.
But they're considered well written and well done.
Yeah, they're supposed to be good scripts that people just haven't. And I think, it's at a point now where people see a movie on the blacklist and it's a bit of, oh, okay, well, now we're interested if it gets named on the blacklist.
Yeah.
So.
But I agree with you that the concept could be mined and is ripe for that. I mean, you mentioned Buried. Even you weren't that keen on Buried. You felt it stretched that to as thin as it could possibly get, and it was 78 minutes.
Yes, my take is always that I'm interested in an idea like Buried.
Yeah.
But it's got to be fucking good because it's hard to do. It's not easy to do. I'm not taking pot shots at this bloke and saying he fucking, he missed a dunk.
No.
It's a fucking hard thing to get right.
Yes. I would say yes. If like just giving me a quick pitch and someone said that's what they were going to that their idea was, I'd be like, I'm very interested.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a positive.
Definitely a positive.
In anyone's mind.
Yep. And I actually am interested in seeing if the script is out there just to have a read over and see if it was his fault or not to lay blame, or was the
script tinkered with?
Yeah. And
which
did it
I
have
feel like it probably would have been.
Yeah. Did it have things that might have played out or a little better if they were followed more closely? I don't know. May be the case. But.
I would throw in the Alaska kind of fly out point. I like that.
Scenery. You love it.
I love the scenery, but it's isolated. But it also plays a little better on, because I've got questions.
I've got a couple.
And I'll get to that and one of them revolves around transporting a witness like this.
Yes.
But at the very least, it says, well, we're in the fucking middle of nowhere.
But, I can buy that. I can accept it. I can go with you.
I don't believe that's what would happen, but I feel like, yes, I'll cop that, because if we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you're isolated. You're in, you're trying to keep it on the low somewhat.
Yeah.
I can go with that. I'll go with you. But, yeah, I do have a couple of questions as well. So, for me, I was okay with the license dropping out to reveal.
Oh, that, yes, yes.
But, unfortunately, again, comes with a dislike. We'd fucking clocked that the second Wahlberg's on screen.
I mean, the trailer.
Going into spoilers and things. I mean, the trailer's already spoiled it, but we'd clocked it the second he fucking opened his mouth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, in terms of how it's going to play out, I thought, feasible. He's got his documentation in the plane. The plane's fucking shaking around a bit with a bit of turbulence.
Pops out.
This thing just popped out. Yep, fine. This was my last like, Adam, which is.
I think I've got one more, but it's very minimal.
Rough.
Very minimal.
I did get one laugh, and it was when, there's a little bit of the very minimal back and forth between Topher Grace trying to kind of bargain for his life with Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And he starts fucking, I can pay you. I can do $1 million in crypto. Untraceable. And Wahlberg kind of looks at him with fucking furrowed brow and goes, do I look like a fucking guy who deals in crypto?
Yeah, I thought that was
that was pretty good.
The only other like I had, the fact that when the plane's jostling around, they're going up and down in some turbulence, the knife flies back down the thing and he stops it with his boot.
Yep.
I thought, okay, that's feasible, that knife could have got to him.
Yes.
Now it gives him a way out.
Is it feasible that they didn't turn around for 20 minutes while he was fucking cutting the things? Probably not, but yes, I agree with you. It's something.
And in fact,
you can buy.
Jared, I don't actually think he ends up using the knife. to cut himself
No,
free.
he doesn't. He doesn't.
So I
He
thought
doesn't.
that was at least okay. The knife came to him, but he knew he couldn't. He ended up not being able to actually use it.
Yes. Yeah.
But he managed to sort of come up with another way. So I was okay with that. I
Okay.
thought that was okay.
Anything
Alright.
else?
No,
Okay.
no, not really.
Because the dislikes is quite lengthy.
It's lengthy.
We better
Yeah,
get
it's
onto
lengthy.
it.
There'll be questions peppered.
There'll be questions.
We'll discuss some questions that we don't feel were answered
Correct.
appropriately.
We'll pepper some through. I've got a few sort of specific and then broad. We'll just mix them all together.
Yeah.
First one's a little specific. We like the Alaskan setting.
Yes,
Did we CGI that hotel at the start?
we did.
It fucking looked like it
We CGI'd a
Looked like a
number of shots
CGI'd
in the
moose.
fucking plane.
as well.
Yes.
Well, the plane I get. Like you're just filming three people with a fucking green screen behind
I
the
mean-
set of a plane, but it seemed like there was a shot of Alaska in there.
Yes.
Was I wrong, or was there a couple? There was one or two shots where it seemed like if it wasn't Alaska, like something that could pass. And
Yes.
if you've dropped a bit of CGI in there to you know
Give it a
brush it
little
up
bit
a
of
bit,
juice, yep.
that's all right. But the shot of the hotel was
Was
like I
definitely
was watching
CGI.
a fucking video game.
Definitely. And not a good way to start a film,
No,
guys.
fuck no.
I mean, we're not even getting like you know what you needed to open the film with? Bit of a roving camera through the mountains. Like show us the fucking landscape.
Yeah, something like that.
And then sort of slowly come in on the
on the
hotel.
hotel or something. Yeah.
Come on, Mel.
Come
fucking
on, Mel.
101, mate.
Shit, I know you're cutting some costs, and she was fairly cheap, and you probably got yourself back in the good graces by whipping something together that looks like it's going to profit.
Yeah.
But yeah, not good enough.
I think it'll be tough. It'll be tough for a profit though. I mean, 16 million worldwide after a weekend, it's clearly going to drop off.
First weekend, yeah, it will drop off, but you would think it might have a little bit of legs to maybe knock up 30 or 40.
Yeah, and it might have like another.
Didn't seem
30.
to have a massive advertising campaign.
No.
I don't know. So who knows? Who knows? Question number one here.
Yeah.
We just make deals on the spot with fucking witnesses.
Yeah.
Because she goes,
Let me call it up the chain.
he goes, I need a lot of protection. Blah, blah, blah. She goes, let me call this one in. And like, oh yeah, he wants to make a deal. Yep, great, bang. Obviously, look, we're led to believe with some of the dialogue later on that he's been chatting in the days before getting on the plane.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look good. It doesn't,
No,
especially when she goes,
But
yeah.
To me,
we'll work on
Jared.
it or
To me,
something.
Jared, there are no deals yet.
No,
You
to
don't deal
me-
until we get you back to fucking home.
To
right?
me, we dropped that line of dialogue.
So you're on the plane and he's still trying to make deals.
That's right. And we're not assured that he's going to cooperate,
Yes.
which.
But
which
no,
kind
in
of-
this case, we're in cooperation mode fucking 2 seconds after we get him.
Or we, he's, and it doesn't matter if he's made a deal or not, because the guy that wants to kill him supposedly is the mob guy. You buy that. Oh fuck, he's in custody. We just have to kill him just on the chance that he speaks. Right?
And that adds to, and I'm sorry, this is slightly further ahead.
No, that's all right. I can go ahead.
It adds to the tension if you don't have things like the photographs of him and her and mum's house. So you've got a guy who's a witness who has yet to secure a deal.
Yeah,
He's trying to make deals
But
on the fucking plane with her.
yeah. But if they have that, then it gives him the impetus to say, "Oh fuck, well, there's no deal now because."
But then if Wahlberg, when he's tied up, says something about his mum,
yeah.
then you've suddenly got fuck of these guys. Like,
But I mean, even if that comes out, right? Even if it's played the same way, they find those pictures, they find mum's address, they find all that, and he's just like, well, the verbal deal that I just made with you is off.
yes.
And
Because-
back to Wahlberg, what do I need to?
Yes.
What do I do?
What can I
need to
do? What can I do for you?
Because this is what was
Because then we could have
missing, the
bounced back and
whole-
forth.
Yeah,
Wahlberg's trying to fucking coerce him.
yeah.
It could have also been that Grace had cash secured somewhere that the mob wanted, or something the mob wanted.
Yeah.
Build that tension there.
Yep.
Wahlberg cannot kill him.
Yep.
Like, I can't just kill him, right? I've got to get something out of him.
Yes.
It just, there was none of that. It was so kind of bland about what they were offering
yeah.
in the suspense realm.
Yep.
It just none of that worked.
And this is exactly what we're talking about. That's not easy.
Yeah.
But what was produced was not good enough to be on a fucking on a
Blacklist.
big screen or
But,
a
but
blacklist.
also,
Well, it's on my fucking
But
shit
again,
list.
I
That's
mean-
not a blacklist.
look, say what we want about Mel, and even the actors involved, they've all been in movies where, well, we should know what a bit of suspense is.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
looking at this and thinking, well, fuck, like, I'm not getting anything out of this.
No.
Like, you gotta pivot. Like,
Yeah.
Mel, you should know as the director that this is not coming together.
Well, I'm looking to get back on my Mel boycott, which didn't last long enough after you fucking said, let's go and see Flight
But we
Plan.
boycotted him as an actor.
Okay, it's a technicality.
Yeah, technicality.
Well, I've got to fucking expand
Now he's
the
double
boycott.
boycotted.
I've got to expand the fucking boycott.
boycotted as a director as well.
Oh, God. Okay, back to a little specific.
Yep.
Wahlberg's accent.
Accent. Shit house.
What are we going for?
I'm going to go one further. Let's go through each actor's efforts. Wahlberg is off the fucking chart.
Yeah.
His character is loose from minute one.
Yeah.
The
but
moment he
not in
gets
a
in the
good
not
way.
in a good way, of course not, because it feels kind
It's
of
not
like
a scary loose. It was making me giggle loose.
yeah,
kind of.
it felt over the top.
Yeah.
And it's at odds with what Gibson seems to want.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
everything
here's
else
a-
is played pretty straight.
Here's a question. Did Mel take the material too seriously?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Wahlberg's angle was too far, but it's more in keeping with what this should have been.
With a goofy kind of,
goofy kind of silly B
exciting-
movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So Wahlberg's gone with, he's looked at the material and said, well, obviously I'm the villain. I'm going to ham it up. Like, I'm going
Yeah.
for ham.
Yes.
You can see it in the fucking shaved head and all that bullshit that they've gone with.
Yep.
It's ham.
Yep.
Gibson seems to be going, let's straighten this thing up.
Yeah. But as we said, what's missing is it seems to be, okay, well, we've got Michelle Dockery as the good. Mark Wahlberg is clearly the bad. So Topher Grace should be the grey.
Yes.
But it just never was.
Never was,
right?
no.
Like, it didn't really feel like there was ever any point where he was going to turn.
And I think they missed an opportunity, right? And I would have done it like this. Mel, take some notes. I would have played on Wahlberg's heroic background as an actor, right? I wouldn't have had him spouting fucking, ridiculous Southern accents or Texas accents or whatever the fuck he gets on the plane with. I would have had him as the down, and fuck, I would have even shown a fucking opening sequence of him with his family or something to lull us into this idea that he is the stoic family man that we can count on, and then twist him. He becomes the fucking mob guy.
But I mean, they gave it away. They've given it away before you go.
The
into the
trailers
movie. What's
fuck
the
you
fucking
over,
point?
basically.
What's
So
the
there's
point?
no point.
But
So that's why I still come back to B movie.
Well, here's
they're
the other
going
thing.
with that.
It doesn't matter. There needs to be no mystery about Wahlberg. It doesn't fucking matter. But here's my issue with the accent, and so he goes on with an accent so as not to arouse suspicion. But the accent is so bad.
Suspicious.
The second he talks, you're like, he's not from there.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, does there need to be an accent? A
No.
pilot can fly. I can
No.
come from fucking anywhere.
No, and in fact, it should have been more just he seems like he's just going to fly them.
But what it does is it makes Michelle Dockery's character look stupid. Yeah, I know. It does, and
I
it's
know.
really unfortunate because she's sitting there eating it up for a couple of
She
minutes.
should have been pulling her gun immediately,
When-
going, "Who the fuck are
Yeah,
you?"
when the second he opens his mouth and goes, "Yo, I need a pilot," it's like, what? And also, they also blew it by, when the door shut.
Yeah.
The door shut with nobody there, and Topher Grace is like, "Oh fuck,
Yeah, yeah.
where did he disappear to?" It's like, why do you do that if you are intending on some sort of? And this is why I say it doesn't matter, because all that shit was so
so fucking just rolled out in front of us.
yeah.
That was where it was
All
going.
it served to do, unfortunately, was to undermine Michelle Dockery's efforts at putting a character together.
Yeah.
Because for 20 minutes, and this is probably its own separate dislike, for 20 minutes of the movie, it makes her stupid.
Yeah.
She doesn't clock any of that. Topher Grace sees the license and tries to tell
get
her,
attention.
and she's fucking palming him off. And, we see the cut on the neck, which is, it slightly arouses her suspicion, and we see another drop of blood. Fuck, change your shirt. If you came from just killing the bloke, change your fucking
Yeah.
shirt.
I mean, are you meant to be a professional? Or is
How
or
much do we pay you?
Or was it meant to be that he was just a fucking loose unit and he didn't care about any of that?
Well, I think it was meant to be somewhat that. And once you're in the air, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So
But that
I feel like that
to
should have been
me,
super quick, right? While
his-
they're fucking flying down the runway, she clocks the blood, she clocks this. But once you're in the air, you don't know how to fly, so it's too fucking late.
yes. And in fact, he can play a little more lower key then.
Yes.
He can say, you don't know how to get down.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
And
So
that's
if you
another
point
part.
that fucking gun at me and you shoot me, it's all over.
That's another part that's not played with.
Yes.
I mean, it could have been, we could have had fucking 10-minute scene of her and him just sitting next to each
Mind
other
games.
uneasily.
Yeah. Mind games.
I can't shoot this fucker because he's flying the plane.
And Jared, she cannot cuff him to the fucking back room. She can't because he's got to fly the plane.
Yes.
So he's holding the cards. He's
Yep.
saying, you can do nothing, right? Then he can start talking it up about how, you shouldn't have fucked over Moretti. This is
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
going to happen.
Yep.
And what happens if I just decide to fly us into a fucking mountain?
Yep.
Right? And
Yeah.
then we can play with Topher Grace trying to make deals. We
he
come
got
back to all that.
there's almost that part where it felt like it could have been like that he's flying him to a mountain, and that's like, well, fuck, it doesn't matter if we don't have a pilot now because he's going to fuck us over anyway. So we do this and fucking chain him to the whatever. But it just was all felt so.
I just had a thought because the same thing probably could have been used here, and they're not necessarily the same. But there's a really good sequence in Judgment Night where Jeremy Piven starts trying to make deals with Dennis Leary when they're trying to crawl across the two buildings, and he says, I can't make it, and so he stays and he starts making deals with Leary, talking about cash and I can give you this and all that, and Leary keeps saying, you're a fucking scumbag and all that. And then he keeps upping the amount.
Yeah.
And then Leary eventually goes, all right, no worries. And everyone starts fucking smiling and getting happy. And then he just fucking tosses him off the roof.
Yep.
And I really love that sequence because it just sort of showcases that Leary's such a fucking asshole that he just let this guy believe that
just
maybe
played with him.
played with him.
Yep.
This is what we needed here. Some play.
Yes.
There is no way. The only way out.
Yep.
You need to either fucking make a deal with Wahlberg.
Yep.
Or make a deal with Dockery.
Yeah.
Like Topher Grace
But
really should be
Dockery's
the
got to
key
be
guy.
dealing too.
Yes. But Topher Grace should almost be like the key person.
There never really felt any portion where there was that Mexican standoff element.
Yes.
Like,
and you're spot on. They're both sitting in the cockpit. She's checked the blood. She realizes that
she's clocked him. She could have
she
just
knows
fucking
he's
pulled
not
the gun on him.
real.
But he's
she
basically like, you can't shoot me.
Yeah. And she knows, do I pull the gun on him? Do I not?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Is he really a bad guy or not? Like,
Yeah.
you needed to play.
Yeah, yeah.
It needed to be a thriller.
Well, that's got to
Just
be
in the air.
mate. That's got to be the fucking body of the movie,
Yes.
and that's why it was a bit of a dud because we didn't get any of that. There was another one in here. It's not really a like or dislike, but I just found myself writing it down, Adam. It says, "What is Mel's idea of compelling viewing?"
Yeah.
It's not the same as my idea.
No. Oh, absolutely not. Jesus. Oh,
Yeah.
Mel, but get yourself together.
Yep.
I will come just slightly back to the acting, and again, I'm not saying Topher Grace was bad; he was passable, but they just had him to become so annoying. His character constantly talked and said stupid things at stupid times,
Yeah.
and it was like it's almost like those people who talk when there's a dead spot, like in a
Yes,
conversation. They just talk. I got to feel
Example: Don't shoot him. We need him. No fucking shit. That's what we all.
He's
That's
the
what we all
pilot.
figured out.
it. Currently.
But we that's what we were thinking too. Like, so yeah, I completely understand that. This might be one of the bigger dislikes of the movie, Adam, or at least it entertained me.
Mm.
Mark Wahlberg doing a fucking Uncle Fester
Yeah.
impersonation.
I am baffled by this decision.
I don't know why. And of course, I fucking burst out laughing in the middle of the movie
don't
because
know what he
I
was
quickly-
what they were doing
for
with
some
this.
reason I opened Letterboxd and there was a 1.5 star review that just said it said 2 words and it said Mark Baldberg. And I, of course, fucking laughed like the idiot that I am at that and then continued on. But
It's such a random decision. Like,
yeah,
yes, I understand that Mark Wahlberg's now in his 50s.
but what does it
But
bring?
what does it does nothing. Like, it didn't.
It makes him look a little more seedy, but not.
Yeah, but not. But there was no need for the seed.
But isn't this? Yeah, aren't you playing on the fact that this guy is Hollywood's hero and hasn't been like the bad guy since Fear?
Yeah, yeah.
Which was a long time ago.
But
now,
at
like-
least it would come back if he had a full head of hair. If he had a full head of hair, it would come back to kind of he charms her early on.
I couldn't stop.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I fucking kept laughing when he was getting tased and his hair kind of falls off as he's getting tased. It kind of jiggles off. And then, as you know, I stopped laughing about that. But at the same time, Topher Grace starts to panic. And there's a point where, you know, we've just had Wahlberg kind of slump over with no hair. And they choose that exact point to have like Topher Grace wail. He kind of goes in the middle of it. And I fucking just laughed. I was sitting there laughing for about a minute about this shit. Like, I could not stop. I couldn't stop. It was comical.
Yeah.
Fucking comical.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah. So look out for that part. That might have been my favourite part of the movie.
definitely.
Tased, hair falls off. And then we're trying to right the fucking ship from there. Like, or, you know, steady the plane from that point. Oh my God.
I also find it highly improbable that she would have been able to push his fucking dead weight off her while he's laying on top of her on the cockpit thing, and the fucking the steering is pushed fucking straight down, so the plane's basically going straight down. I find it hard to believe.
Well, that was my next one. That's where Mel's at fault, right? We don't get anything out of that.
No.
The plane's going straight to the ground. It's fucking just, you know, dropping straight to the ground.
Yes.
And it's just kind of like it's here and then gone.
Yeah. It's taken care of so easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's not even edited well.
No.
Even though you know these things, they're not going to crash.
No.
Because the movie's still got fucking 50 minutes to go.
That's right.
But if you edit it tightly,
art
it
is-
feels
Yeah,
tense.
the art is making it exciting and even making, you know, putting into the mind just for a split second. Oh, fuck, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't feel like that at all.
No.
So that was purely on Mel.
Yes.
That was purely on Mel's direction on that one, I felt.
Yes, I would agree. What else you got?
Remember when they called the guy on the radio? They first get someone on the radio.
Yes. And
He
it's kind of
starts
dropping
going
in and
on,
out,
it's dropping in and out, and then he whips out a.
Oh, you put
Frank puts you up to
Frank
this,
puts you up to
didn't he?
it, did he? What? Frank puts out pranks of fucking people who are in danger in planes all the
Frank
time.
should
does
be
he?
fired.
Yes.
You're dealing with fucking.
Frank can go fuck himself.
Yeah, you're dealing with lives, Frank. You're out. Frank gets pulled into the office like Bobby Cannavale. They play him a little. They play him a little audio.
Let you go.
Yeah, they play him a little audio. You know, I got to let you go, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, that was stupid. I'm so sick of seeing that as like the first. Oh yeah, you can't get me.
Yeah,
All
I'm
this sort of
fucked.
shit.
That is just standard bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, that is not how this shit works.
No.
right?
Stop it. Stop doing
Somebody is putting in a Mayday call.
Yeah, yeah. Where did you take off from? Well, you know, what's the fucking, you know, where are you?
where's the
I
issue?
don't know all the ins and outs, but they've got a protocol, right?
But that's
They
then
don't go,
preceded by no.
Frank, you asshole.
I'm going to get you back, Greg. I can tell you now.
Yeah, you wait.
This also is then preceded by another one of fucking Dockery's boneheaded moves.
Mm.
She finally realises, oh, fuck, I've got a sat phone.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what? We've been up here for 15 fucking minutes and you haven't worked
I
out as a
reckon
sat phone?
were we 30 to 40 minutes into the
Holy
movie by this
shit.
point?
I just slapped my head and I was like,
Yeah.
this is so stupid.
But the way that it comes out too, when Topher Grace goes, oh, don't they call it in? And she looks at him with this epiphany and goes,
Oh,
call it in, and whips out a fucking sat phone she's had the entire
get
time.
get out of
At
here.
this point, we have been cooking this shit up for 40 fucking minutes, nearly. I reckon it was the
get
30 to 40 minute mark when
out
they
of
did
my
that.
face with that shit.
Yeah.
That should have been the first thing she's on.
It's the type
The
of
sat
move.
phone.
That's just there's no other reaction to that than a fucking face palm. And
Yeah.
like, are you serious? That's what we're going with now. Oh yeah, that's right. It's a sat phone, and I've had it here for fucking the whole time.
Yeah, and you haven't even thought about it.
No.
You didn't even realise you had it.
Yep. So again,
God.
this is where I sort of I can't lay the blame totally at Michelle Dockery's feet for a
No,
performance here when this is what you've got to
that's
get
script
past.
work.
Yeah.
That's script work.
So we get a bit of a reprieve where Wahlberg gets tased and his hair falls off, and then
He's
When it-
basically MIA.
yeah.
for about
When he woke up,
20
I wanted
minutes.
to leave the fucking cinema,
Yeah.
Adam. I wanted him to put him back to sleep.
It was just like, and one of the things, and I'll bring it up a bit later. He doesn't do anything in that period.
No.
He just talks a lot of
He
smack.
just talks, and it's supposed to be like you see from his perspective. It seems like, oh yeah, I'm giving this fucking frothing performance, and I'm scaring them all.
Yeah.
And there's a moment that I noted specifically that
Yeah.
Topher Grace has to say, "Oh my God, he doesn't care if he lives or dies."
Yeah.
That's how we know we're in trouble. And I kind of leaned over to you and I said, if that was Denzel chained
Yeah.
up there, he doesn't need to say that
No.
because we get that.
Yeah.
Denzel gives us a performance, and if the fucking script's not up to it, Denzel says, "I'm not in. I'm not your man."
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Wahlberg took this gig, doesn't really have the material,
And then
and so
Probably-
Grace kind of has to look at him and go and verbally say, "Well, I'm scared now,"
Yes,
instead of us
yes.
seeing that.
yes, and it's partially again because Wahlberg's interpretation of the material is different, in my opinion. It seems different. It's way too over the top. Like it's just way too over the top. Even
And this
by
is
the
where-
standards, Jared. Like it's fucking so over the top.
Yeah.
It's super over the top. It's not even like he's over the top in points. He's over the top all the time. Like every fucking minute he is on screen.
Yes.
He's just frothing at the mouth.
Yep.
And I just don't see how Mel hasn't gone, fuck, Mark. I need you to bring that down.
Bring it down, or Mel says, "This
Up,
is
up.
B movie schlock. Let's have a bit of fun with
Everybody's going to fuck around with this. We're
Yeah.
all going to go like this.
Yep.
Snakes on a plane style. We're just going to go for whatever.
it." Yeah, just go for it.
Which
get a bit of
I
a
would have been
fucking-
perfectly happy with Wahlberg's performance if that's what the material was.
Yeah.
If it's just over the top fucking schlock. But it's just in totally the opposite direction.
yeah, a
everything
little
else.
too serious. A little
Yeah.
too serious.
Everything else is super serious.
Wahlberg continually coming back to the lyrics of Blue Monday or whatever it's called.
I don't
Yeah,
even
how
know.
does it
Yeah,
feel
how does
to
it-
treat me like
yeah,
you
yeah.
do? He comes back to it 2 or 3 times, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
Why?
He talks about it, and it's never brought up again. Was it a song that was like biggest problem with Wahlberg's character? We know nothing.
You know nothing.
Nothing about him.
Yep.
Nothing. He is just a cipher.
Yep.
We don't know anything. He is there strictly to menace. That's
Yes,
it. That is
yeah.
his only fucking role.
Yep.
And again, I know Wahlberg's a pretty what I would say, pretty well seasoned, like in terms of his clout as an
Yeah.
actor. He's pretty well known.
Yep.
Okay. I just don't see how he looks at this and says, "This is for me." Like to me,
I don't know, Adam.
no, but I move past this if I'm Wahlberg. I give this to fucking someone else.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
give it to
who are
someone-
you giving it to?
I don't, Jesus Christ.
Casper Van Dien?
I don't know. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, although, we've talked about The Rock and said how he never really stretches outside of his wheelhouse of this is The Rock. He's always the best fucking, most incredible person we could get.
You telling me you put the Rock in?
No.
The Rock dropping in and going, "How y'all doing?
I'm saying
y'all need a pilot?"
Wahlberg should, to me, he plays more in that wheelhouse, and it would
Yeah.
be better if I would fire my agent. I'm fucking not joking. I would have said,
Yeah,
"You
yeah.
fucking put me in this."
Yeah, but the returns are going to be okay. And
Okay.
somehow it's at a 25% on Rotten
know.
Tomatoes. That means
I know.
25%. I saw one reviewer that gave it fucking 7 out of 10 or something.
I don't know how you
Get
got
off.
there.
Get
Yeah, okay,
off.
okay. Maybe Wahlberg saw it as it's cheap.
Yeah.
26 million. It'll do reasonable business.
He'll do 50 on me alone. That's his kind of mentality, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. But that's probably correct. That's probably in the end fairly correct. That it'll make enough box office to be profitable,
Yeah.
and then no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
Not even me. Not even him. He's going fucking flight risk. What's that all about?
What? What are you talking about?
That. I was back on the drugs for a small period.
So we, at this point of the movie, we throw out a skeleton in the marshal's closet.
Yeah.
Which
was
okay,
useless.
but so it's very clearly supposed to make Topher Grace think I'm fucked.
Yes. But he never
But
even
again,
shows that.
It doesn't.
He shows no impetus. And again, it's once
And
again.
Wahlberg's playing that angle. He's looking at him going, "No," and Topher Grace is supposed to try to work with this, but then we don't get it.
And again, coming back to what we said before about the kind of like mind games between the three of them, if you get it right, is him once again going, I need to get off her and go back to him. Like, he can do me a deal.
There's got to be some doubt. And
Yes.
it just never felt like there was any doubt.
And she's about as fucking cut up about the whole thing as fucking I was.
Yeah.
And by that stage, I was fucking
She was about
almost
as-
nodding off.
It's about as cut up as Dag in Cruel Jaws was about his wife passing away and his will to live being crushed.
Yeah, my wife left me and my will. So did my will to live. Yeah, exactly. She was about. He was more cut up, and he was bad.
Yeah. So it's here that we get another bit that I was laughing at, Adam. We start talking to the people because we realise we had a sat phone fucking 45 minutes in. We start talking to her superiors and the rest of the team or whatever, and we start playing with the sense that, there's a leak. Someone got this info because there's a leak, and she starts, saying they don't trust me because the last person that was in my care was burned alive.
Yeah. No one trusts me because my last fucking witness was a Big Mac. Was turned into a fucking Big Mac, and you wonder why they don't trust me. And you wonder why I was riding the desk.
Yeah. I was riding the desk for. I'd imagine you'd be riding it for quite some time.
20 years. The rest of your career, mate. Because she goes, Wahlberg says to her, how long you been a marshal? She says 7 to 8 years, and you've already fucking crisped somebody in that time.
Yeah. But so this was the bit that had me laughing. She talks to, again, we're going into spoilers as we like to.
Yeah.
She's talking to Coolidge, who is the boss of whatever. I didn't get his full title. I just knew who's the boss. And she goes, there's a leak. And he goes, what? And immediately after I finished laughing, I said to you, he's the leak.
But you know what, though? Here's a question for you. You've just arrested and captured a witness that is most likely going to turn evidence against the fucking mafia.
Yep.
Right? You don't tell 25 people.
No.
Because at one point, Van Zandt, her other mate, oh, yeah, Coolidge knows about it, and this person knows about it, and the fucking deputy director and the assistant director. You don't do that because the mob has deep fucking tentacles.
Yes.
And the more people who know, the more the mob will press.
She is suspicious of a leak, but she goes to Van Zandt, there's a leak. And then she gets to Coolidge. There's a leak. And Coolidge, of course, goes, what? Fuck. So we suspect him, and we were on the money. But
and then let's come back, Jared. Let's just slide back because I've got another question.
Pulling back.
Back to the start.
Yep.
I understand they're in the middle of nowhere. I get that. They're in Alaska. But the airport they're flying out seems to have a reasonable sized runway.
Yeah.
To move. You would think that the fucking Marshal Service would
Coolidge
send a plane.
fucking gets someone there.
Yes. It sends a plane of theirs
Yes.
to collect him.
Yes.
Not fucking fly out with fucking Billy Bob Thornton.
What do you call it? Plummet Air. You're not flying on Plummet Airways. Like it's as you said, it's one of those things where you can
you can
go
accept
with it.
We can go with it.
If there's a we just need a simple explanation. Like there's a fucking urgency. There's something we got to get the fuck
But
out
they
of
had
here.
him there for 8 days.
It seems like they've fucking cut deals. They've done all this, and we haven't got a plane there. And it also then has the effect of, okay, I understand why you did it because you want it to be just these three. We get that. We understand that. But it then has the effect that once we start bringing these big players in via phone halfway through the movie, what the fuck's their impact going to be?
Yes.
We never see Coolidge's face.
It could only be a mole, a leak. They
Yeah.
can only be used for that purpose. Because we now know that Wahlberg is with the mob and he's turned on them, and we now have a couple of voices on the radio, right? You've got the pilot guy who helps them,
Hassan?
and you've got two members of the Marshal Service,
Yes.
right? Hassan, a couple of times they try and give you the bait and switch where he pauses,
Yeah. Makes
Doesn't
a
say
couple of little
anything.
comments.
Yeah. makes a couple of little
Mixes
comments.
it in with a little bit of a
Sexually harasses her.
Yeah, sexually
Fucking pesters her about
Pest.
dates and shit.
But, you know, the overly sunny disposition. Okay, well, that was probably one of the few areas that the doubt worked.
Yes, a little bit of doubt.
Just a touch with him.
But then as soon as Coolidge gets involved, or his name is, that's the doubt gone with Hassan. Because we know it's not him.
We feel like very clearly
him.
that it's...
Yeah, it's not him. So that stuff, that question, although I accept it because we want to have a tight thriller in the air with three people, but that's not how it would work. Because, as I said, the fucking mafia's got people, right? So they're going to be looking for this guy.
Yep.
That's why there should also have been that Grace had something that the mafia needed as well. I just feel like that would have helped continue to draw out. That's why he's not going to make a deal, because I'm still holding some cards. I've got something, right? It just would have worked better for both parties because they're trying to get it. They're both trying to get it out of him.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to stress that that's not easy.
Yes.
I don't think you necessarily needed all of this, but what you needed was for what they had to be tighter and bringing some of these things in somewhere. Sure.
Yes.
So, I mean, fuck, we're getting to the point now where they're pulling into land, and I was fucking just begging for it to end.
I wasn't even busting for a piss, Jared, but I wish I
just
sort
wanted
of
to
cooked
leave.
one up.
I just wanted to leave. Wahlberg being run over. I mean, again, it's one of those ones that comes out as super comical. And I just I laughed. Again,
Yes.
all these points where I shouldn't have been laughing, but I was laughing. This is why it screamed fucking B-movie action, be a bit silly with it. But we leave him to be vague.
Yes.
Which then leaves the questions of, so we had a bit of a dull villain in him that had, really, we never get a reason why he needs to be there.
Well, he's
and the
listed
reasons
in the
that we were
cast
tossing
credits
around
as
were probably
Daryl,
silly.
but that's just the guy that was
That's the guy's name that he
the game
killed.
that he killed.
Yeah.
So really, he's nobody.
So the vagueness of it, I don't think worked in the end. I think you were at a point where, because we spent so much time with these three, you needed him to be almost like the final boss. Even if he had someone above him, you needed him to be
Yes.
the ultimate kind of hurdle that we have to overcome, which the way that it plays out, he's not.
No.
And it's...
And also, did you notice that he's chained up again a second time, only to escape a second time, only
yeah.
to be shot like seconds after he escapes?
Yes.
It's like, what the fuck was the point of that?
Yeah.
It had no point whatsoever. No need for him to escape again. It
Yep.
just didn't make sense.
No. And so it just leaves Coolidge as the main one. And we don't even get, we know we're not going to, we've never seen Coolidge. He's been on the phone for what, some total of like 4 minutes of the film?
Yes.
And so we know we're not going to see a courtroom and Coolidge getting fucking taken down.
No.
We're not going to see any of that.
No.
So it just kind of fucking, you walk out with this unsatisfactory kind of, it just didn't feel like it wrapped a
No.
bow on things.
No, it didn't.
And then, of course, well, what did you think of the fucking sting at the end?
Stupid.
Stupid.
Ridiculous. As I said, why is nobody just putting a gun to his head and blowing his fucking brains out?
Yeah,
Like it's,
yeah.
this is just, I mean, Wahlberg could have even done it in the plane.
Yeah.
Just turned around, pulled a gun from under the pilot's desk there and just gone boom.
Yeah, because it doesn't
Gone.
seem like it's the security's fucking super tight. I mean, the boss is a leak. Any old person's just wandering into a fucking ambulance or whatever. Like,
He had ambo gear on.
yeah,
So what?
Yeah, fucking hell.
Well, I mean, that I could accept that the mob has, connections in the ambulance service or whatever, people that they can recruit or
Yeah.
putting the squeeze on.
Yep.
Totally understand that, but he fires a gun in the plane at the seat and the seat takes the pellets
Yeah.
and don't get through. She's
good
crouched
seat.
behind it. What's it made of?
Yeah. It's a fucking Kevlar seat.
10
yeah.
inches thick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
It's just fucking ridiculous. And once again, this is why it shouldn't have been an action film. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to go for some action. It should have been a psychological thriller where the three of them are basically cat and mouse.
But see,
with
this
each
is where, like, I mean, you can squeeze a bit of dumb action. You can
Yeah, you
make
could
a
squeeze
thriller
it
a
near the
little
end.
dumb and a little.
Squeeze it near the end. But when you start firing guns in there and then fucking flare guns.
But
at each
action
other-
doesn't have to mean guns, right?
No,
Like,
it doesn't. But
it
but
just-
none of it really.
It's definitely thriller.
Every
It's
time
definitely
he
gonna
breaks
end in
free,
thriller,
every
but-
time he breaks free, it ends in very little.
Yeah.
A quick stabbing and then, she fucking fights him off and then handcuffs him to the fucking seat again. Like, that's all it seems to be done with
Yeah.
Wahlberg's character.
Yep.
So we probably needed to flesh out a little bit of the cat and mouse for a little longer and then go to that.
Yep.
Anything else from you?
I think that was it.
Oh.
I think I'm just, it's making me feel, my temperature's fucking rising, Adam, the
it's
more we
rising.
talk about it.
Right, it's rising.
I didn't enjoy it.
No, I didn't. I did not enjoy it. That's my first trip to the cinema in 6 months. And, I mean, Mel's off the list.
It'll be 12.
Clearly,
It'll
yeah.
be
I won't be
12,
back
yeah.
for another 12.
No, I've definitely expanded.
It'll be
my-
another tight thriller in a small space.
Now that you've fucking found a loophole to get me back to a Mel Gibson movie,
well,
I'm expanding.
we have yet to arsehole him as a producer.
Correct. So you might get another look.
He
in at
might get
some
another
point.
go. All right.
Yeah.
That was Flight Risk. Keep an eye on the Facebook page, everybody, to see what we cover next. But until then, take it easy, and we'll catch you all later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.